Good Monday morning to everybody. We had a great week last week looking at the Abraham and the various New Testament traditions of Abraham, and what they had to do with salvation history. So I think we did very well with that exercise there, and I think we did an okay job given the amount of text we've had to work with, bringing out kind of the essential salvation historical meanings. So very good job, everybody. And this week we are going to be doing something similar with the Exodus and the Exodus tradition, and just laying the groundwork as I did for the video for what I call the greater Exodus tradition. And that's going to be the Exodus plus. So basically the new Exodus that the New Testament calls for is a major change in theology, in Old Testament theology, which takes place after the Babylonian exile. And so basically what happens is the old story of the Exodus gets taken up, and the new historical realities of the exile are attached. But the promise of Abraham sort of comes through all of this, and God remains, despite these historical disasters, completely committed to his children and his people and his promise that he made to Abraham. So I posed a question to you, a challenge, and I'm glad that you all took it on. I've asked you to find evidence of Abraham typology in Romans 8, and I told you that I thought it was there, so I wasn't sending you on a wild goose chase to mix the metaphor, find a needle in a haystack. A lot of you mentioned the inheritance and how Abraham is connected to our inheritance. Inheritance is obviously a very big theme in Romans 8. That's good. That does have to do with Abraham, no doubt, but that's not actually typology, right? Because the inheritance Abraham gets is not a type of our inheritance. It is our inheritance. It's the very same thing. They're one and the same. That's kind of the whole point, that what Abraham has promised, we ultimately are the beneficiaries of. Actually, what I was looking for is in Romans 8:32, and this is just really cool. This is easy to read over this, until you're reading carefully with your ear really attuned to the Old Testament echo. It says, "He who did not spare his own son," that's namely God who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, will he not also give us all things with him? Okay, that phrase, did not spare, should be a little bug in your ear, and you say, oh, yeah, did not spare. Where have I heard that? Yes, the Akedah, the story of Abraham and Isaac. Because remember, at the end of the Akedah, precisely because God telling Abraham, precisely because you did not spare your only son from me, okay, I'm going to reward you with this covenant, which is going to be the surety of all these things that are going to happen. Okay, so, and we ultimately find out this covenant means that God himself will die if he has to bring this about. And that's precisely what has to happen in Jesus Christ. But the point is that this is typology. Just as Abraham has an unspared son and receives a blessing for that, so the logic is, because God himself was willing or did not spare his own son, ultimately we can be the receptors of that blessing. So the typology here is Abraham to God. Abraham is a type of God. Abraham is a type of father who does not spare his son and receives blessings as a result. God the Father is the antitype of the father who does not spare his own son and conveys or pours out blessings as a result. So you see how the logic works here. This is a very, very compact way that you can explain how is it that the crucifixion of Jesus actually saves anybody. You ever think of that question? What is it about the crucifixion of Jesus that's salvific? Okay, that's good. I wanted to mention that. Now, what I want to do this week is to read the Exodus again, but I'm going to do the same thing as we did last week. I'm going to read it in light of Hebrews. Okay, so I'd like to read the Exodus with the Hebrews writer, and look for me on the board. I'm going to post something on that soon. Okay, great. Thank you.